I have made this little review and I will make this available on Canvas and also I'll post it in the YouTube description. I really do think that this will help. I thought that the way that I actually learned grammar was making example sentences and actually testing myself and seeing if the answers that I created, like why they were wrong or right, according to Disney, because that's what I find really fun. So I've broken down this grammar exam into 2A, 2B, and 2C, and we'll kind of just go by each section because I think that'll be like the most organized. And so yeah, let's start out with 2A. So the first guideline in 2A is to write incomplete sentences. So what I mean by this is basically you have to have three things in a complete sentence. You have to have a subject, you have to have a verb, and you have to have a complement. A subject simply is the actor, who is doing the verb. And then the verb is the action that is being done in this sentence. And the complement is basically what is the thing that's completing the thought together. So let's go into this next section right here. So when in doubt, throughout the test, I want you to do these three steps. So first is to find the verb, because that's the easiest thing to find. What is the action being done in the sentence? Second is to find the subject. What or who is doing the verb? And then last is find the complement. What is completing the sentence? So let's look at this first sentence right here, this example. So Spencer and his girlfriend, who are engaged, budgeted and saved in order to go to Disneyland. They lived happily ever after. So if we notice here, the verb, let's start with that. So the verb was they budgeted and they saved and they lived. Those are the actions being done. Who's doing the budgeting? Who's doing the saving? Who's doing the living? It's obviously Spencer and his girlfriend. So those two are the subjects. And also they, because they are the ones who are living. And then last is to find the complement. This one kind of gets constricted because you could kind of say, well, everything else is the complement, which is correct. So whatever finishes the sentence is the complement. And they live happily ever after. And also a little bit of in order to go to Disneyland. So if you could find those three things in a sentence, I think you could be well on your way to find which is a complete sentence versus which is a fragment, which is the next section, which is what you'll be tested on. So if we look here under complete sentences, so let's look at the first example. So my parents paid for my trip to Disney World. So first let's find the verb. Who was doing the action? Or I'm sorry, what was the action being done? Paid. So paid is the verb. Who was doing the paying? My parents. What completes the sentence? My trip to Disney World. So as you can see, the verb is paid, the subject is my parents, and the complement is Disney World. So let's look at a fragment, for example. So that I can go, the first example right here. So that I can go. Okay, there is a verb, can go. There is a subject, I, but what's the complement? So that. So that what? There's nothing that's really completing the thought of that sentence. So that is why that is a fragment. Next, let's go through another example. Mickey Mouse fought with Donald Duck. So what is the action being taken place? Fought. Who was doing the fighting? Mickey Mouse. What was the complement? Who's Mickey fighting with? Donald Duck. So as we can see, the verb is fought. The subject is Mickey Mouse. And then the complement is Donald Duck. All right, let's go through another fragment example. So during the world of color, okay, there's not a subject or a verb. There's kind of just a dependent something. Something needs to be there. So that is why during the world of color is technically a fragment because it's missing two of the three things. Next, so Belle blew me a kiss during the parade. So blew me a kiss is the verb because that's the action being taken place. Who's doing the blowing of the kissing? Belle. And then the complement is during the parade because that solidifies everything. So Belle is the subject, blew me a kiss is the verb, and then during the parade is the complement. Um, and then last example is a fragment. So if you are Prince Charming, okay, so you are is a state of being, so that's obviously a verb. You, so you could technically be the subject, yes. If Prince Charming, okay, if Prince Charming, what, right? So that is missing the complement. So as you can see here, the subject and the verb is here, but it's missing that completeness, that complement in this sentence. And that's why that is a fragment right there. So let's go to a text question, just in case you don't get this. So basically, I think you see the answer right here. But after we ride Space Mountain, okay, so let's try this together. Is it a fragment or a complete sentence? What is the subject? We, right? We are the ones who are riding Space Mountain. The action taking place is ride. So that's the verb. And then the complement is missing. After Space Mountain. After Space Mountain, what? So that is why this sentence right here, or it's not even a sentence, it's actually a fragment. So that is cool there. And then next, test question number 2. So I took 1,000,000 selfies near Cinderella's castle. So if we're going by my rule of thumb, I'm guessing, let's start with the verb. So what is the verb here? Took 1,000,000 selfies. Okay, that sounds about right. Who was doing the taking of the 1,000,000 selfies? Obviously me. So the subject is I. And then is there a completeness? Does it kind of give context to what we're talking about? Oh, it's near Cinderella's castle. Perfect. So it has the complement. So if we look here, it has the verb, check. It has the subject, check. And it has the complement, check. So that is why this is a complete sentence. If you're having some issues with this, I just recommend going through a lot of practice examples and kind of working through what if it's missing one of those 3 things, or even 2 of those 3 things, then it's automatically a fragment. So yeah, good luck studying.